Welcome to the Google Cloud Summit 19 Best of Online. My name is Karthik Trasi, and today I'll be giving you a brief overview of Cloud AI. At any time during our live session, you can ask questions and Googlers are on standby to answer them. View the discussion on our platform just below the watch window for each session and tell us what you think by completing the feedback survey that appears on the right side of your watch window later in the session. And be sure to follow us on social media and join the conversation using hashtag Google Cloud Summit. I have some interesting demos lined up, so let's get started. ML is an exciting and active field with over 100 papers being published every day. But that's by a very small fraction of the people who actually want to use ML. Think about the business users and the developers who don't have the deep expertise in machine learning or AI. On GCP, we have the tools to cover a broad range of use cases and personas to help solve problems through composition. Most ML problems can be broken down into multiple ones by building your own components from scratch or using what we have built at Google. So let's go through some of these. So let's go from the left-hand side. We have out-of-the-box solutions that help you drive business value right out of the box. Let's start with the first one, Dialogflow. Dialogflow helps you scale and automate communication with your customers. CCAI, or what we call Contact Center AI, helps you build intelligence for your call centers. Document Understanding AI helps you extract structured data from your unstructured documents. So let's do a deep dive on Dialogflow. Dialogflow is a great platform for communication with your users. It could be online, it could be through voice, chat, or text. Dialogflow gives you the ability to build complex interactions, conversation management that can be integrated with your downstream systems like your knowledge base or your CRM. Let me give you a quick look at the Dialogflow UI. All right, so here you're looking at the Dialogflow user interface. And when you log in, you see on the left-hand side intents. Intents can be created by clicking on Create Intent, defining a name for that intent, creating some training phases, which allow the model to figure out the different variations of the same question. You can also give a simple text response, or if you want to go into an advanced mode, you can also have fulfillment through webhooks, or you can call a backend API to fulfill a request. For example, if you want to create a bot that can book airline tickets, you can ask the question, what's the to and from what's the airport that you're taking off from, what is your destination. You can ask for the dates, and you can have the backend system actually book the ticket for using this chatbot. So here I've created a few intents, some questions with very specific answers. And here you see I have created some training phrases which the machine learning model can use to understand the different variations. So let's see if this works. So I'm going to click on the right hand side and type in a question. What is the difference as you can see, our bot has gone and figured out the intent correctly and given it the default response which was defined in that intent. Let me click and see if it was correct. So what it has done is it has processed the natural language query, gone into the backend, figured out the response, and in this case it was a simple text response, and it has given it as the output. If you look at a new feature that we've added, it's called the knowledge connectors. So a lot of times, most of your question and answers are already on your website in your frequently asked questions, sorry. So here I've created a model which looks at the Google Cloud Storage docs and FAQ. So if I click on it, I see that it has already scraped the Q&A from the website, and this can be used to create the agent which can answer these specific questions. Now let me create intents out of these of this Q&A. So I'm going to click on convert to intents, and save, and hopefully I can see them in the intents. So here I see that I have 3 questions which have been populated in the intents column. And if I click on this, I can see that there's a question and a response which is already added automatically into the intents. So let me try if this works. So now I'll type in a question. What is the Tell me the pricing for GCS. And you can see that it has gone and picked the right response from the FAQ page. Moreover, you can kind of go into the advanced mode where you can use the webhooks or an inline editor which is powered by Cloud Functions for Firebase to invoke some advanced activity, or you can actually go down to your backend systems and pull some of the results and present it to your customers. In terms of integrations, we have integrations with the Google Assistant, telephony, and text-based applications as well. So one of the cool things is we just launched Dialogflow Phone Gateway, which allows you to create a phone number which people can call to, and the Dialogflow Assistant will respond using voice. All right, so that was a quick tour of Dialogflow. Now let's go back to the slides. All right, so now let's talk about customer service overall. You want to build great experiences for your customers so that they can keep coming back and purchase your brand. It's incredibly valuable for your brand to have great customer service. But typically, if you want to have excellent customer service, it comes at a cost. You want the questions for your customers being answered very, very quickly. That means you need to have infinite scale in terms of to handle such calls, especially during surge times. But what if you could get the best of both worlds? So we have a solution called Contact Center AI. This has 3 pillars. The first pillar is Dialogflow agents, the one you just saw earlier. The second is Agent Assist. So when a person is having this conversation, all that information can be packaged, summarized, and presented to a human agent, who can then use to accelerate the processing of the call. And we have topic modeling as well. So all that unstructured data can be categorized and neatly presented for analytics, so you can understand why your customers are actually calling in and how you can optimize their experience. So let's look at a typical customer journey. So customer can reach out to you using either voice, text, or chat. The call will be routed through your call center provider, and then it'll be picked up by a virtual agent. Your virtual agent can then go back to your backend resources and fulfill that request, or it can build all that context and present that context to a human agent, and that way the agent has actually accelerated that particular request. And Google and our partners are ready to help you build great customer experiences. Here are a few list of our partners who can actually help you drive these solutions. All right, so let's move on to the next section, which is pre-trained models. A huge benefit of using pre-trained models is that Google builds it for you and maintains it for you. For you to use a pre-trained model, it's a simple API call away. So your developers can start using these ML models right off the bat without having to learn any machine learning or building their own machine learning code. We are going to focus on a couple of pre-trained models. Let's start with the Video Intelligence API. Understanding the content, context, and patterns in videos is it's a really challenging problem. In the past, you would have to build a very complex processing pipeline, image processing pipeline, which can take up a lot of resources, cost, and time. But now, using the Video Intelligence API, you can just upload your video, and we give you a lot of metadata right off the bat. So let me walk you through a quick demo of the Video Intelligence API. All right. So on your screen, you will see the Video Intelligence API UI. This is just a demo, and here you see a video of the Google Home commercial from the 2000 Super Bowl event. And here you see it's basically a scene. It has cars, it has people, animals, a garage, and so on. So it has basically a set of random scenes. Now, if you look below, you see that now the Video Intelligence machine learning algorithm has come up with a long set of labels. These labels are also tagged on the timeline. So let's see how this has done. So now it says that it found a dog. That appears to be correct. A cake and a car. So basically, Video Intelligence API allows you to bring in your videos, and you can get the generic metadata that we can create out of the videos. So you can start building a lot of context for your videos, and you use that for cataloging your videos and also taking appropriate action. All right. Now, let's move back to the slides. All right. So let's go to the Vision API. So if you want to extract insights from images, we have an API for that. It's called the Vision API. You can try it out at cloud.google.com/vision. And here you see a screenshot of a cloud. And you see on the right-hand side that it has categorized, it has basically pulled out a certain amount of labels, which categorizes this into cloud, weather, and so on. This is built on a generic model. We can also identify faces, well-known landmarks, and product logos. We also map the objects to a knowledge graph, as you see here, and you can basically drill down into those particular objects. But what if you need to customize these machine learning models? Imagine you're a researcher and you want to know exactly what type of cloud this is. The pre-trained model may not be suitable for this use case. You want to take it one step further. But you shouldn't have to go back and build the model from scratch. That is a lot of work. You want something that can be extensible, and you should be able to customize the machine learning model. So recently, we launched a bunch of features called AutoML. AutoML allows you to bring in your data, bring in your labeled data, and we can build these models for you. So we have 4 different versions of AutoML that we'll talk about now for unstructured data. It's AutoML Vision, AutoML Video Intelligence, Natural Language, and Translation. So the idea is that when you bring in your data and the expertise to actually label the data, we can help you build these machine learning models at scale with a decent level of accuracy. And all you need to do is figure out how much compute power you want to throw at the problem, which will basically determine how accurate the model is. And at some time, you will realize that there is diminishing returns, and you will have to kind of optimize the compute power and the cost for building these models. So let's focus on one specific AutoML product, which is AutoML Vision. So let's see how this works. So you bring in your images, and we have a labeling service which allows you to label your images. Once you have these labeled images, we can train the model for you. And once we've trained the model, that model is available for you via REST API to use for your applications. But what if you want to do this offline? So imagine you have a use case where you really require low latency. You want to optimize on cost, and there might be PII data that you want to use to enrich those models, and you don't necessarily want that call to go into cloud. So we are introducing AutoML Vision Edge, which allows you to download these models offline and deploy this at the edge. So let me give you a quick demonstration of how this would work on the platform. And just to work back on the same scenario that I mentioned earlier, let's look at a researcher trying to build a model which is very specific for his or her use case. So here you see three types of clouds that the researcher wants to classify. The first one is Sirius, which is thin and wispy. The next one is in the middle is Columbonimbus, which is kind of dense and towering, and Cumulus, which is kind of a fluffy cotton-like cloud. So let me go into the demo and show you what this looks like. All right. So this is the AutoML Vision UI. So the first thing that you would do is you would get the metadata on your images. And here you see a sample. You would let us know if you want to use your images for training or test. You would give a path for that particular image, and you would give a specific label, cat or a dog in this example. And don't worry about the actual label. You have the opportunity to actually change those labels once you're in the UI. Once you're done with that, you would upload the images into cloud storage and give access to this particular machine learning tool. So once you have uploaded the images, you will see the training data, and you have the labeling service which allows you to actually filter the data and also change any of these classifications for training if you've made a kind of a wrong import. So here I see that I have Sirius, Columbonimbus, and Cumulus as three different categories. I have about 20 images. For a real production use case, you would want to have about 100 images per class, which would make the model more robust. So the more the data, and the more robust your model is. So once you are happy with your training set, you would want to train the model. So to train the model, you would click on train a new model, and here you see you have two options. One is cloud hosted, and the second one is edge. If you click on edge, you will be able to download that model once it's built and deploy it on an edge device. I built a couple of models for you, so let's see what that looks like. So I'm going to just evaluate these models. And in the evaluate tab, here you see kind of general information about that particular machine learning model. Here you see precision, recall, and you also see a confusion matrix where you have the true label and the predicted label. This can help you evaluate whether the model is good enough for production or not. So once you're happy with the model, you can actually test or use this model. So if I go onto this tab, here you can see that this model that I had selected was a Vision Edge model. And here you see additional ways to deploy the model, like TF Lite on edge devices, Core ML for iOS and macOS. You can deploy it as a container or deploy it as Coral as well. If you look at the online version of the model, here you see that you can open it up as a REST API, or you can use the UI to actually test out the model. So I've downloaded a few cloud images, and let me see how that the prediction works. And from the description that I had read out earlier, it looks like the first one would have been a Sirius. It's predicting it as cumulus. The second one is cumulonimbus, which looks correct. It is large and towering. And the last one is cumulus, which looks correct as well. So this model was, it was basically a simulation. We had very few images. But imagine if you have a lot of data, you could build a model which is far more robust. All right, so let's move back to the slides. All right. So moving on to AutoML video. So AutoML video allows you to bring your video data. We have a service which helps you label these your video data, and once you have that, we can make your model more specific for your business. Like for example, if you have a specific video where you're trying to identify people who are actually celebrating after the goal, like you see on the right hand side, you can build a model around that, and AutoML video will isolate those kind of scenes for you. And what is more exciting is object tracking. So you can have custom object tracking in the future. So this is a feature that is coming soon. It's on the roadmap. And in this video, you see a track which is the model is actually tracking a drifting car, which is super cool. All right. So next, we will go into the kind of the structured data, AutoML for structured data. So we have two new products that we launched recently, currently in beta. One is AutoML tables, and the second one is recommendation AI. So let's look at AutoML tables in detail. So most organizations have structured data, and you want to build a machine learning model on top of that structured data. Let's take an example of this marketing company who wants to predict at what price the product should be sold at online based on the historical sales history. So here on the left hand side, you see a bunch of features like geography, domain, title, description, category, and brand, and you have a predicted a value you want to predict, which is the price that you want to sell it at. And you see that you have a lot of historical data to actually use for this. So this is how AutoML table works. So you bring in your structured data, you identify a label which needs to be predicted. We will build the best model applicable for this data set, and this model will be available via a REST API. So let's see how that works in a demo. All right. So on your screens, you will be seeing a banking data set. So to get the data into the system, you can import the data using BigQuery if you have a BigQuery table. You can also import it via CSV through cloud storage or upload it directly from your computer. So once you have this data, you can take a look at this data and actually correct some of the fields. Like for example, if it's classified a particular field as numeric instead of categorical, you can go ahead and change it. You can take a look at the different distributions of numerical and categorical variables. You would want to select a target variable that you want to predict. And in this case, I want to predict the deposit. So this data set gives us the campaign and the date of the campaign, and whether the person actually deposited money into the account or not. If I click on the deposit variable, I see that has two values. One, which means the person did not deposit, and two, which means the person actually deposited. So now I can go ahead and and train a model. So I can click on train a model. What I need to do is give a budget on how many nodes per hour, maximum nodes per hour I wanted to use. The more time and compute power I associate with this model, the more accurate the model will be. And if I want to use advanced settings, I can select an optimization objective as well. So I've trained a couple of models, so we can take a look at that. So here you can see that I've trained a couple of models. If you go into the evaluation tab, you will be able to see some of the basic stats here on top. You will be able to see the basic stats here as well, like the true positive rate, a false positive rate, and so on. And you'll be able to see the confusion matrix and the feature importance. And here you see that the most important feature it's recognized is the duration, which is quite intuitive as well. If you go into test and use, you will be able to test the model online using the REST API. So this is the JSON format, and you can use this for predicting right here through the UI itself. If you want this for online prediction, you can set up the API, which will allow you to use it for your different applications. If you want to use it for batch prediction, you can have your data in BigQuery and use that for batch prediction. And if you want to export your model, you can export it in a container. All right, so this was a brief overview of AutoML tables. Let's go back to the slides. All right, the second most common use case that we've seen is that of a recommendation engine. Every company wants to build a world-class recommendation engine. But why is it so hard to do well? First of all, there's a lot of data. People are interacting with your website, people are coming into their store, people are having online and offline transactions. To get all that information into one place is not that easy, and most organizations struggle with that. Secondly, the data is very sparse. So if you look at reviews and ratings, the data itself is very, very sparse. To utilize all that data is very, very difficult. And thirdly, people are dynamically changing their habits, which makes it difficult unless the model can actually adapt to those changes. So recently, we launched Recommendations AI, which is currently in beta, which allows you to build custom recommendation models by using Google's technology. So you bring in the data, like the product catalog, so all the products that you have in a format that we can consume, and then your customer data, how people are interacting with your brand. Once you get that data in, we will build a machine learning model for that specific data, and we'll also augment some of your business rules to make it specific for your business. Once we've done that, we'll build that prediction API, and that will be available for your applications to consume. All right. So finally, we have come to the right-hand side, which is the AI platform. The AI platform basically gives you tools for the deep technical experts to actually build models from scratch and share it with their colleagues, and also train these models at scale. So we take care of the hardware acceleration using our cutting edge hardware like tensor processing units that are available on Google Cloud. We also open source a technology in 2018 called Kubeflow, which allows you to build machine learning pipelines which are more portable. This allows you to not be locked into any particular cloud provider or on-prem, and be more agile in terms of development and scale. Finally, if you want to learn more about the tools, products, and technology that are discussed today, go on to cloud.google.com/products/AI. And finally, I want to thank you for tuning into Google Cloud Summit 19, Best of Online. Stay tuned for more content from Google Cloud thought leaders, experts, and customers.
I need my coffee, Jamie. That's what I've been saying to you. So, wow, time just flies. And it's almost time for coffee here.
It really does. And speaking of coffee, there's so many choices here. What is your favorite coffee and what's your favorite place to have it? What's your favorite coffee bar here at Google Sydney?
Oh, there's just so many choices. So we've got, let me remember, we've got 2 cafe bars. We've got
2 barista cafes.
Yeah. And we've got 5 cafes. Of all of them, I like the one on level 4 at PIR.
Okay.
That's my favorite. Do you want to know why?
Yeah, why is it your favorite?
I've got a very lazy reason. It's because it's 20 steps from my desk.
20 steps.
Yes. And did you ask which coffee do I have?
Yeah, what's your coffee?
I'm going to test you there.
Oh, okay.
So.
I'm worried. This is not rehearsed.
It's not easy. So the acronym that I give out to the coffee bar when I go up there.
And welcome back to track 3, by the way.
Welcome back, guys. Is LWAFW.
LWAFW.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's right.
Large, weak, almond, flat white.
Oh my goodness, you're really smart.
Is that right?
It is. It is. Well, I have trouble remembering that before I get my morning coffee in the mornings. But you know what helps?
What?
Just making friends with the coffee bar people.
Yes.
That's the trick there.
You can always learn how to make coffee yourself. We have plenty of machines of self-service.
That was one of the first things I learned when I joined. So you know how we talked about the Wharf 7 building?
Yes.
So there's a coffee machine there, just like the ones that the baristas use, and I'd never made my own coffee, ever. I had to literally pull a colleague out of their seat and go, you know what, I need my coffee, I don't know where to go, can you help me learn how to make coffee? And that was our first coffee lesson here at Google.
Wow.
That was an interesting thing to learn.
During my second week at Google in Singapore, they had this amazing juice bar. You have to make your own juices.
Yep.
I didn't know how to use the machine. I put in carrot, beetroot. It went everywhere.
Right.
Just everywhere. Mostly all over me. Welcome back, track 1.
I kind of preempted what you would have done there. But back to coffees. I didn't ask you what's your favorite coffee.
Well, I actually don't drink caffeine as such. I'm a recovering caffeine addict. But my coffee choice is very googly, maybe even too googly. When I first ordered my coffee here at Google with my manager, a lot of people laughed. My order is a large macadamia milk turmeric.
Wow.
Which they have here.
Right.
Which we have.
I use a lot of turmeric at home, so I'm trying to piece together the taste. But
actually not bad.
I'll maybe have that with you after this.
I still smell the coffee as I walk through the coffee bar, but I have my turmeric.
Right.
Or if I'm feeling a little bit adventurous, need the sugar, maybe a chai.
Wow. Good. Do you know another great thing about the cafes?
What's that?
It lets us have those informal chats with our customers and partners, where we can sit down, sip some coffee, get to know them better, and they get to know us. That's my favorite way of working with my customers and my partners.
Absolutely. It's actually really interesting and amazing how many of my customers in the short time they've been at Google, and partners as well, have learned to say, hey, Jamie, can we come to Google? Maybe around like lunchtime, maybe we get a coffee first. Happens all the time now.
Absolutely does. And with that, for the viewers who are back with us, please remember to leave feedback for us. The screen should pop up on the right-hand side as you finish your sessions.
Yeah, it's very important to us. We do take it very seriously. We appreciate it and we act on it. So we look at it very closely. We try and answer as many questions as possible. So please don't hesitate. Click the button and make your voice heard.
Yeah. And this is actually a good time to talk about Google Cloud Next, which is coming up next year in San Francisco. So if you haven't signed up yet, take the time, go in and sign up.
Yes, that's Google Cloud Next in April of next year.
Yeah, that's right. And you might need a bit of planning, so...
Yeah. Will you be there?
I think so. Yeah, I plan to.
Yeah, I think I'll be there too.
Nice. So, with that, if you plan to join us along on social media, hashtag Google Cloud Summit is what you should be using as a handle.
Yes. And don't forget, in addition to everything online today, you also have access to your Google Cloud account teams, people like us, people who can help you on your journey to work with a more customized and specific manner. Our job is to understand your challenges, what you're trying to achieve as a business, as an organization, and how we can bring the best of Google and Google Cloud to you and to your organizations.
And working with customers is our passion and solving your business problems. So please bring them to us and talk about it with an account team that's close to you in your city or your country.
And if you come to a Google office, you might just get a Google lunch as well.
Which is 100% something to look forward to.
And if you do, please try a turmeric latte.
Yeah. That'll be a good taste to have.
I'm trying to start it as a trend.
I'm trying that myself. You should probably go hashtag turmeric latte in macadamia milk online. That'll be good. With that, we're waiting for some of our viewers to come back from the tracks. And I think we've got them all back. So it's a good time to get into the next.
Yes. What will people be seeing now?
So I hope you found the sessions insightful and you have something to talk about with your teams and the business. What was your insight from the sessions, Jamie?
I think for me, it's always going to be infrastructure. Infrastructure is foundational, and the way that we approach it here at Google Cloud is very different, and opens up a lot of opportunity for businesses to modernize no matter where you are.
Yeah, cool. With that, let's get into another video with Singapore Press Holdings. We have Fiona Chan, Head of Customer Experience, sharing some thoughts on SPH's data-driven story with BigQuery. She'll have a chat with Rick Harshman from Google Cloud, who's Managing Director, Asia Pacific. Have a look.
Sounds good. See you soon.
Tell the audience a little bit about SPH and your role at SPH.
We are listed in Singapore. We're one of the biggest media publishers in Southeast Asia. But we don't just do media. Actually, we also have a lot of properties, literally shopping malls, student accommodation, nursing homes.
You know, when you think about data, how did you get to the conclusion that, partnering with Google and Google Cloud made sense?
Specifically for web and app analytics, I think that was something that we did a market scan, and what Google Analytics had to offer in terms of the volume and the granularity of the data, the ability to go into the raw data and work with it directly on BigQuery. Google doesn't sell its products directly. It works through partners, in Singapore at least. We actually got on very well with the reseller, a happy marketer, and that was a big push for us also to move into Google, knowing that there was someone to handhold us through every step of the way, through the implementation, troubleshooting, answering questions, everything from the infrastructure, architecture to communications on the ground. So that was again very helpful for us.
How did you go through the transformation and decide to, kind of change the way you work by choosing G Suite, and what has that led to from an outcomes perspective?
So our deputy CEO decided that it was time for us to change the way we worked. One very big manifestation of that was email. And we were already seeing more than half our traffic come through mobile, and we knew that this was the way forward. We wanted to give everyone the power to be able to access their documents, their emails and their files, and to encourage better collaboration and sharing. So we force migrated 4,000 employees onto G Suite. We did it in stages. We had Google Guides embedded throughout the businesses to help people troubleshoot along the way. It was really a game changer for us in improving productivity and helping people to work together. And 2 years later, I can say that, it would be unthinkable to move back to where we were before.
That's a great story. Now let's introduce our next speakers. There's no one better to share insights other than Liz Wu, Cloud Consultant, Google Cloud Professional Services, on building data pipelines in GCP. We also have a great speaker in for track 1. You're about to hear from Duncan Cambridge, Customer Engineer, on infrastructure modernization. He's going to dig into best practices for enterprise deployments of Compute Engine and some examples of effective deployments, particularly at scale.
Both Liz and Duncan are based here in Sydney, and I've had ample opportunity to work with them. There can be nobody better than them here to present this content. So sit tight, watch them live, present their content. And for those who are interested in application development and data management, you'll hear from Madan Sadashivam. He's a technical solution consultant with APAC. He's going to talk about how to build secure and scalable microservices, architectures with Kubernetes, Istio, and Apigee API management platform. So if you're thinking API integration or API management or monetizing APIs, that's the session to go for.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pick your session of the hour and tune in to the sessions with our experts.
So, speaking of microservices, why should our customers use them?
Good question. There could be a wide range of use cases out there, and I
Yes.
don't think we have enough time to get through even half of those.
Yes.
But let's talk about two most common ones that come across.
Okay, sure.
Right? So one of them is breaking down a complex monolithic applications, make them more manageable, and allowing them to scale in a decoupled fashion.
So reducing technical debt, effectively.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes.
Also, there's another one where you could architect and design some high business value features to scale independently based on business needs. This allows you to efficiently use the resources that you would have as an IT provider or an IT division.
So again, we're lowering the barriers to entry for customers to start working and to start modernizing.
Yeah, and be able to scale independent of any kind of technology constraints.
Really?
Yeah,
So,
it's pretty exciting, isn't it?
so thanks, Nandini. I mean, it's amazing the breadth and the power of Google Cloud. Please, if you have any questions, engage your local team. People like you're listening to today, we're all here, we're in our local offices, we're here to support you on your journey. No matter what stage you're up to, it's our role to support you.
And before you go, just a reminder to join along in the social conversations that we're having. Use hashtag Google Cloud Summit. With that, pick your session, sit tight, and watch the next tracks that we've got.
Yeah. Please enjoy, and we'll see you soon after.
See you.